Thank you, Mrs. Harden. Today, many people believe it's okay to have men who transform into women compete in women's sports. Webster's 1828 defines gender as a sex, male or female. God does not create transgender people, so why do people accept their decision to change gender? A man deciding to become a woman should not be granted permission to compete in women's sports, as this provides an unfair advantage, creates unfair competition, and leads to male dominance in women's sports. God designed humanity in male and female forms. People try to change their gender, which is against God and His Word. Genesis 1:27 says, "So God created man in His own image. In the image of God He created him. Male and female He created them." In the book, God and the Transgender Debate by Andrew Walker, it says, "In truth, there is no such thing as transgender, because you cannot change your gender. So if your sex is male, your gender is male." God created males differently physically. Sex has been identified as a major determinant of athletic performance through the impact of height, weight, body fat, muscle mass, aerobic capacity, or anaerobic threshold, as a result of genetic and hormonal differences. Males are generally stronger, taller, and weigh more because that is how God made them. Transgender people may claim belief in God, but are changing form to be someone they are not. Andrew Walker says, "You can change your form, but you cannot change your formatting. You can pretend to be someone you are not, but that is not who you truly are." Someone may be able to change themselves to be different, but that is not a part of God's plan for us. There are many inequalities and unfair standards in women's sports compared to men. Riley Gaines was a University of Kentucky swimmer, NCAA champion, and is now an advocate for women's rights in sports competitions. At an NCAA championship, Riley and Leah Thomas, a transgender female, tied for fifth. Instead of giving the biological female the trophy, the NCAA representative gave the trophy to Leah Thomas. Gaines said that she became upset that it seemed like the NCAA was prioritizing transgender athletes over others. From that day, Riley Gaines has continued discussing the controversy about men competing in women's sports. Leah Thomas is an example of why men should not compete in women's sports because of the unfairness and advantage over women. God is just and hates injustice, so why should men compete against women for their own will? Jeremiah 22:3 explains, "Do justice and righteousness, and deliver from the hand of the oppressor." Men overall are dominant in most sports. It is not fair or right to have a biological male compete against women. An example of a transgender male athlete running a biological female is a young girl named Peyton McNabb. Peyton McNabb was a high school volleyball player who suffered head and neck injuries after a transgender girl spiked the ball in her face. This ended her dreams of getting a volleyball scholarship and made walking difficult. This incident shows having men compete in women's sports can be dangerous to those competing. McNabb continues to speak about her accident because she's afraid worse injuries will occur as society continues to allow men compete with women. Women are fearful of playing against men because they're afraid of getting hurt or worse. So why should men still compete against women? Men need to stop competing in women's sports because it can result in even more damage in the future. Male athletes should not compete in women's sports because of the unfairness and overall male domination. Jeremiah 1:5 says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, and before you were born, I set you apart." God made you the gender you are for a reason. By changing the way we are designed, we are not following the ways of the world. We are turning away from them. Turning away from the society that's telling you to change is wrong. Instead, be the person God made you to be. As of February 5th, 2025, President Donald Trump issued Executive Order number 14,201 entitled "Keeping Men Out of Women's Sports," banning transgender athletes for competing in women's sports for many years to come. Thank you.